My in-laws were in danger on the snowy mountain, and my husband, an experienced rescue helicopter pilot, was the last person I called in our past life. I had stopped him from being with his childhood sweetheart, making him go rescue my parents instead. That led to his sweetheart dying in a car accident, and they never got to say their final goodbyes. I never imagined he would blame me for her tragic death. He secretly swapped out my asthma inhaler and watched me die from an attack. Su Rong, it's all your fault that Yuan Yuan is dead. If you hadn't called me away that day, she wouldn't have gone out looking for me and been hit by that car. You should burn in hell to atone for her death. I suffocated to death, curled up on the ground. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my in-laws were stranded on the mountain, waiting for rescue. This time, I didn't stop him from rushing to his childhood sweetheart. Yet he spent the rest of his life in remorse. Miss Chen, your in-laws have been caught in an avalanche on their descent. They need a helicopter rescue, and the most suitable candidate is your husband, Gu Feng. The speaker was Wan Tao, the chairman of the Mountaineering Association. At that moment, he was gripping my shoulders tightly, his expression frantic with urgency. Getting worked up is pointless. I know better than anyone that Gu Feng is the most qualified for this rescue mission. If he goes, the success rate is guaranteed to be 100%. The problem is, he's currently lost in the tender embrace of his childhood sweetheart, Qin Yuan Yuan, and refuses to extricate himself. This time, I have no intention of seeking out Gu Feng, and his precious Qin Yuan Yuan won't be dying either. Recalling every little detail of my past life with Gu Feng, I feel like a complete fool. At our wedding, he vowed to love me for the rest of his life, making me believe I was the happiest person in the world. But after Qin Yuan Yuan returned to the country, I accidentally saw them shopping at the mall, spending tens of thousands in a single trip. When I confronted Gu Feng, he claimed that he and Qin Yuan Yuan were just like brother and sister. Foolishly, I believed him, and it cost me my life. Given a second chance, I will never make the same mistakes again. After dialing Gu Feng's number, I handed the phone to Wang Tao. Wang Tao shouted frantically, Gu Feng, you need to come back right now. Your parents are trapped on the mountain after an avalanche. If we wait any longer, they'll freeze to death. Gu Feng's groggy voice came through the phone, as if he had just woken up. Lao Wang, Su Rong's acting all paranoid and making a scene, and you just let her run wild. My parents are seasoned hiking enthusiasts with years of experience and never had an accident. Your lies are just pathetic. Wang Tao roared in a panic. Who's lying to you? This is a matter of life and death. Get your ass back here now. Just then, Qin Yuan Yuan's soft, delicate voice suddenly came through the phone. So noisy, I want to sleep a little longer. Gu Feng suddenly lowered his voice, his tone laced with menace. Su Rong, I know you're nearby. Let me make this perfectly clear for the last time. My parents are my red line. Don't use them to force me home. If you want me back, the only way is for you to come and apologize to Yuan Yuan. Hearing his twisted, blame-shifting nonsense, I almost laughed out loud. Gu Feng, on what planet should I be the one apologizing to the other woman? I've long since given up on you. If it weren't for your parents being in danger, the next time we met would be to sign the divorce papers. This is my final notice. Your parents are waiting for you to save them. Perhaps because I had always spoken to him softly before, seeing me so firm and resolute, Gu Feng's rebellious streak kicked in. Su Rong, you're being paranoid enough as it is. And now you're even cursing my parents. So you want a divorce, huh? Do you really have the heart to go through with it? Let's see how long you can keep up this game of playing hard to get. With that, Gu Feng hung up the phone and didn't call back. I knew this would happen all along. In my past life, my in-laws stood up for me. They forced Gu Feng to cut all ties with Qin Yuan Yuan and even scolded her on my behalf. They cherished me as if I were their own daughter. That's why in this life, I must do everything in my power to save them, even if the odds of success are slim. Time is of the essence. If I can't find Gu Feng, I'll seek out his friend, Shen He, the deputy captain of the rescue team. Shen He was on leave at home at the time. If he was willing to come, there might still be a glimmer of hope for my in-laws. Sis, I know what you're going to say. Brother Feng just called me. My heart sank immediately, sensing that something was wrong. What did he say to you? Shen He hesitated for a moment before speaking. Sis, you're going too far. How could you curse Brother Gu's parents? And you want me to lie for you? Gu Feng and Qin Yuan Yuan are ancient history. Listen to me. Just swallow your pride with Brother Feng. Apologize to Qin Yuan Yuan, and everyone can be happy. How could I forget? They're all the same type, sticking together for warmth and covering for each other. So you're saying if I don't apologize to Qin Yuan Yuan, you won't come to help Gu Feng's parents? Shen, he was growing impatient, a strange woman beside him was whispering. And her voice didn't sound like his wife's. That's right, Brother Feng and I are close, I can't betray him, I don't have time for this conversation, I'm on vacation, so don't bother me. Shen, he hung up the phone in annoyance. If I remember correctly, his wealthy heiress wife was 5 months pregnant. Wang Tao knew he couldn't delay any longer. He urgently pulled 2 new members from the rescue team just then. My in-laws managed to reach us on the mountain via a faint radio signal. The radio crackled with static, through which my father-in-law's desperate plea came in broken fragments. Son, get a helicopter up here now. Your mother and I are going to freeze to death on this mountain. Gripping the handset, I urged them to stay calm and conserve their strength. But the signal abruptly cut out. The Mountaineering Association reported another avalanche. The snowpack is even deeper now, making the search and rescue efforts more difficult. Anxious to help, I boarded the helicopter with the rescue team and headed for the mountains. The pilot, Li Sun, was full of admiration for me. You're incredibly loyal, ma'am, coming all this way yourself to ensure your in-laws' safety. Brother Gu is a lucky man to have married you. I gave a bitter, inward smile, keeping my eyes fixed on the search and rescue monitor as I responded. My in-laws have always treated me like their own daughter, so of course I see them as my own parents. If anything happened to them, I'd never forgive myself. Just then, my mother-in-law's voice crackled through the emergency radio. Rong, your father-in-law is fading fast, I can see your helicopter, please, come save us. There was a sharp crackle of static, then the signal cut out again. The heavy snowpack must have disrupted it, but just as we reached the location where my in-laws showed up on the radar, the helicopter abruptly changed course and began descending down the mountain. I was bewildered. Shaoli, what's going on? We're about to find my in-laws. If you turn back now, they'll die. Li Sun, who had just been all smiles and admiration towards me, suddenly turned grim. Look, sis-in-law, I never thought you'd stoop to this, just to force your husband to come home. You'd go through all this trouble to mess with us. Feng is my mentor, and he just called me. He said your in-laws are perfectly fine, resting at home right now. I was so furious I could hit someone. Why on earth would I lie about something like this? Suppressing my rage, I spoke to Li Sun with forced patience. I'm not lying to you. The equipment reacted just now, which means they really are down there. We should. Before I could finish, Li Sun cut me off impatiently. How do I know you're not lying to me? Brother Feng is my mentor, and his reputation in the rescue team is rock solid. Everyone calls him brother. I wouldn't dare cross him. The sound of my in-laws' fearful sobbing came through the headset once more. Rong, why do I see the helicopter flying away? What's going on? Don't they want to rescue us anymore? I did my best to calm them down. No, Mom, Dad, I want to save you. You have to hold on, please. After saying that, I immediately called Gu Feng, my tone pleading and submissive. Gu Feng, I'm begging you, tell Li Sun to turn the plane back. Your parents are really going to freeze to death on that mountain. Gu Feng sneered at me. How long are you going to keep up this act? You've mobilized so many resources. Come back and wait for your prison sentence. He hung up before I could even finish. Beneath the helicopter, the snowy mountain showed faint signs of another avalanche. I couldn't fathom how Gu Feng's parents could possibly survive a third avalanche. They would never have imagined that their most beloved son would be the one to cause their demise. The helicopter flew back to the base of the mountain. No matter how much I pleaded, Li Sun refused to turn around and go back to rescue them. My legs were like jelly when I got off the helicopter. My mind was racing with thoughts of how to save them. When Chairman Wang Tao saw that I was the only one who returned, he mistakenly thought the rescue had failed. He patted my shoulder in consolation. Su Rong, you've done all you can. As for that heartless Gu Feng, you should divorce him as soon as possible. A man like that is beyond hope. I just pray your in-laws can make it through the night. I waited until midnight, certain there would be no more avalanches, before spending a small fortune to hire a local guide and a team of sled dogs to take me into the mountains. The local guide said in broken Mandarin. We agreed. If things look bad, we turn back immediately. I nodded in agreement, my only hope being to find my in-laws as quickly as possible. Following the guide into the vast, snow-covered mountains, the temperature plummeted to well below zero. A blizzard raged, reducing the world to a featureless white void where all sense of direction was lost. A profound sense of despair settled over me. After a grueling climb to the mountainside, the guide released a sled dog. 10 minutes later, we finally got a response. I found my in-laws in a rocky cave. My father-in-law had already frozen to death, his climbing gear and clothing encased in a thick layer of ice. My mother-in-law still clung to a faint thread of consciousness, but she didn't look like she had much time left. I hurriedly carried both of them onto the sled and headed down the mountain as fast as I could, not wanting to waste a single moment. I called 120 while simultaneously trying to rouse Granny. Granny, you mustn't fall asleep, we'll be home soon, you're not going to die. Granny's face was deathly pale, as if with a final surge of energy, she grasped my hand. Rong, you've done more than enough. Gufeng is blind and foolish to have fallen for that vixen Qin Yuan. Don't worry, we've transferred all our assets into your name, keep them and live a good life. I couldn't stop the tears, praying to heaven not to take my mother-in-law. Mom, hold on, I'll make sure you see Gufeng one last time, you have to hold on. I kept calling Gufeng, and he finally picked up on the 10th try. Gufeng, your mother is dying, get to the rescue base now. Mom, say something to Gufeng. The old woman mustered her last bit of strength to call out his name. Gufeng. Gufeng was furious. Mom, I know you like Su Rong, but is it fun to team up with her and lie to me? Fine, you want to die, then go ahead and die. How many times do I have to say it? I'll come home as soon as Su Rong and Yuan apologize. Enraged by his words, the old woman's last breath left her. Once they reached the foot of the mountain, an ambulance transported the bodies of the two elderly individuals to the hospital morgue for storage. Li Sun, who had just seen the bodies of Gufeng's parents with his own eyes, was pale with fright. In a panic, he made a video call to Gufeng, and the camera angle clearly showed the corpses of his friend's parents. Brother Feng, you need to come back right now. Your wife wasn't lying to you. Your parents, they're really gone. Li Sun, you've got some nerve now. Have you forgotten who your real mentor is? Do you even want to keep your job on the rescue team? Gufeng was yelling at Li Sun over the phone, not even bothering to look at the corpse in the video. I snatched the phone from Li Sun and shouted at him. In 3 days, I'm having Mom and Dad cremated. Gufeng roared. Don't think that just because my parents favor you and are willing to play along with your little act, you can control me. I'm telling you, if you have the guts to turn my parents to ashes, I'll eat their remains right in front of you. After that, I never contacted Gufeng again. I handled the cremation of my in-laws entirely on my own. I returned home carrying my in-laws' ashes. When I opened the door, I was shocked to see Gufeng massaging Qin Yuan's feet. Qin Yuan was wearing a sexy lace nightgown that showed off her figure. As her feet were being massaged, she let out these inappropriate, breathy moans. Anyone listening would have thought the two of them were up to something indecent. When Gufeng saw me, he guiltily pulled his hands back. He started to explain himself, but then, remembering our recent arguments, his expression immediately turned cold. Clutching the urn, I sneered, no need to be in such a hurry, Miss Chen, we're not even divorced yet, and you're already cozying up in my home. Qin Yuan's eyes welled up with tears instantly. Sis, it's not what you think, she said pitifully, I have trouble sleeping at night, and Brother Feng said he'd give me a foot massage. Gufeng snorted coldly. Yuan, there's no need to explain yourself to her. The innocent have nothing to hide, unlike her, whose mind is full of filth. Hearing Gufeng's words, I truly felt I'd been blind all these years. Gufeng is the captain of a rescue team, his work schedule is highly irregular, and he has to leave immediately whenever an emergency arises. Once, I had a high fever just as Gufeng was called away on a mission. To be the supportive woman behind him, I went to the hospital alone, waited in line, and got in 4 drip. I even fell in the bathroom and broke a bone. When he came back from work, he just collapsed into bed and slept, offering no concern or making any effort to make it up to me. I didn't utter a single word of complaint. Over time, Gufeng simply assumed I didn't need to be taken care of or shown any tenderness. But now, just because Qin Yuan can't sleep due to insomnia, he massages her feet, and in our past life, because of Qin Yuan's accidental death, he grew to hate me. He just stood by and watched me suffocate to death from an asthma attack. The nightmare from my past life, or perhaps this one, came rushing back. My heart ached and my eyes grew hot. Qin Yuan loved nothing more than seeing me in distress, and she chose this moment to pour fuel on the fire. Brother Feng, I think I should go back. I'm so scared of getting beaten like last time. That reminder made Gufeng bring up the apology again. He walked over, grabbed my arm, and the urn of ashes I was holding fell to the floor. White ash scattered across the living room. Only then did Gufeng notice, sneering with disgust. What kind of filthy thing did you pick up outside? Don't you know I'm a germaphobe? Filthy thing. that dust scattered on the floor was his parents' ashes. 5. Not satisfied with just that, he even fetched a vacuum cleaner to suck up the ashes, mixing them with the household dust. He then yelled at me to stop acting crazy and never come back, or else he'd make me regret it. I was shoved to the ground, skinning my knee. It bled. I scrambled to my feet and called the police immediately. With domestic violence, if you don't fight back the first time, there will be countless more. In the mediation room at the police station, Gufeng remained defiant. I just gave her a little shove, he said. Couples argue. Isn't that perfectly normal? Qin Yuanyuan chimed in. That's right, I'm a witness. Brother Feng never laid a hand on her. Officer, you know how some older women can get a bit unhinged. You've got to be on our side here. The officer handling the case, an older man with an air of stern integrity, saw right through her act. A marital dispute is none of your business. Keep quiet, put in her place. Qin Yuanyuan became much more subdued. Immediately after, a lawyer entered the room. He was the estate lawyer hired by the husband's parents before their passing, and he was there to read the will. Should my husband and I face a life-threatening situation or critical illness, if both our son and daughter-in-law care for us together, our estate shall be shared between them. However, if our daughter-in-law alone bears the responsibility, then all 10 properties under our name shall be bequeathed solely to our daughter-in-law, Chen Rong. After the will was read out, Gufeng and Chen Yuanyuan were stunned, furious. Gufeng moved to tear up the will, failing to snatch it. He pointed at the lawyer and cursed. This will is bullshit. You and Chen Rong are in cahoots, trying to swindle my parents' money. Do you think I'm some kind of idiot? That easy to fool? I'm calling my parents right now to come and confront you. The calls Gufeng made went unanswered. Finally, as if struck by a thought, he directly called Old Wang, the president of the Mountaineering Association. Old Wang. Have my parents gone climbing again? Put them on the phone. Old Wang exploded on the other end of the line. You son of a bitch. Now you ask about your parents. They froze to death on the mountain in an avalanche. When we needed you to pilot the rescue helicopter, why didn't you come? Not coming was bad enough, but you even stopped others from joining the search. How did your parents raise such an ungrateful wretch? Gufeng kept saying he didn't believe it, but his lips were already turning pale and beginning to tremble. I don't believe you. Cut the crap. Are my parents right there telling you what to say? Put them on the phone. I want to ask them why they'd give all their assets to an outsider like Chen Rong. Old Wang wasn't having any of it. After a final, vicious tirade, he hung up the phone calmly. I pulled 2 death certificates from my bag. The cause of death was starkly printed in 5 glaring characters. Death by hypothermia. Open your eyes and take a good look. These are your parents' death certificates. They're dead. You killed them. Gufeng's hands trembled as he picked up the death certificate, muttering to himself, it can't be. It just can't be. How could my parents be dead? He scrutinized the death certificate over and over, desperately searching for any flaw or inconsistency before he could even begin to process that. I produced the crematorium's cremation record. This is Mom and Dad's cremation record. I told you about it before. You're the one who chose not to come. Gufeng's legs completely gave way. He dropped to his knees with a thud, as if his soul had been ripped out. Even forgetting to cry, after a moment, he slowly raised his head and asked, unwilling to accept it, they were cremated, there must be ashes. Right, I said with contempt. The ashes were already sucked up by your vacuum cleaner ages ago. You called it dirt at the time. Gufeng was thunderstruck. What are you saying? That white powder was my parents'. That's impossible. Chen Rong, why didn't you come to me the moment my parents had the accident? Why didn't you tell me the truth? I knew he'd pull something like this, playing that final recording in front of everyone. Fine, you want to die? Then go ahead and die. How many times do I have to say it? I'll come home the moment Chen Rong and Yuanyuan apologize to me. I'm telling you, if you have the guts to cremate my parents, I'll eat their ashes right in front of you. I stared coldly at Gufeng, who was on the verge of breaking down. Well, remembering what a monster you were, I begged you to save your own parents, and you just stood by and watched them die. In your last call with your mother, you told her to go die. Gufeng, your parents left the house to me because they knew their own son was less reliable than their daughter-in-law. Gufeng was at a complete loss for words. He fell to his knees, weeping in utter anguish. Seeing this, Qin Yuanyuan tried to slip away while no one was looking, but I stopped her. I remember Gufeng mentioned he had called home before, saying my mother-in-law was making spare ribs. I wonder who really made that call. Qin Yuanyuan guiltily averted her eyes from my gaze, beads of sweat forming on her forehead. I have no idea what you're talking about. I need to go to the bathroom. Gu Feng grabbed Chen Yuanyuan's arm, his words gritted through clenched teeth. I was the one who told you to call and check. You were the one who told me Mom was at home making spare ribs. Were you lying to me, unable to break free? Chen Yuanyuan put on a pitiful act. Brother Feng, I really did call, but no one answered. It was around dinner time, so I just assumed your mom was cooking. I was thinking of you. I didn't want you to worry. Gu Feng broke down, sobbing in anguish. I treated you so well. I gave you my heart and soul, and you lied to me. You're the reason my parents are dead. With shameless audacity, Chen Yuanyuan twisted the truth. Brother Feng, you're confused. It wasn't me or you who caused your parents' death, it was Chen Rong. If it weren't for her, with so many people on the rescue team, why did it have to be you? She must have deliberately stalled, otherwise, those 10 properties would never have ended up in her hands. Our most urgent task now is to get the houses back. Gu Feng raised his hand, ready to strike. Chen Yuanyuan suddenly clutched her stomach and cried out, I'm pregnant. I'm carrying your child. 6. Gu Feng suddenly stopped what he was doing, instinctively looked at me, and began to explain. It only happened once with her. I don't know how she got pregnant. Even though Gu Feng had always stubbornly denied this kind of thing before, I had long expected it. Hearing it with my own ears now still made my heart ache with a dull, persistent pain. Gu Feng and I have been married for 3 years, and we've never been able to have a child. It's been a constant, shared sorrow in both our hearts. Sometimes when we're out and he sees other people's children, Gu Feng can't help but go over and give them a little hug. Chen Yuanyuan knew Gu Feng loved children, which is why she played that as her trump card. She was certain he wouldn't leave her. With a smug look, she turned to me. Sister Rong, I'm so sorry. Since you can't have children, it's up to me. The Gu family has only one heir. Your in-laws have been so good to you. Surely you wouldn't want their precious grandson to live a hard life. So, out of the 10 properties, we'll take 9. I'll leave 1 for you. Once again, Gu Feng chose to side with Chen Yuanyuan. Compared to his parents' death, the properties and his son were what truly mattered to him. He said with a sigh, Chen Rong, just give the properties back to me. I have to take responsibility for the child, no matter what. The child is innocent. Hearing this, Chen Yuanyuan felt victory was firmly in her grasp. I walked up to her and said with contempt, you're not getting a single property. The will is what matters. Chen Yuanyuan was absolutely livid then. I turned to Gu Feng with a warning. I have all the evidence of your domestic violence and infidelity. Take this to court, and you'll have to split your last property and savings with me. I can drag this out as long as it takes. Just try me. Gu Feng's gaze was conflicted and hesitant, giving me the mistaken impression he still wanted to keep a thread of connection. Rong, do you have to be so heartless? I said with absolute finality, yes, I do. If you won't agree to the divorce, I'll sue. I'll keep suing until the court grants it. 7. Even after the scene at the police station, Gu Feng still refused to divorce. Chen Yuanyuan kept texting me every few days, demanding I return the apartment. Chen Yuanyuan even showed up at my workplace, throwing a tantrum and making a scene. Chen Rong, if you don't hand over the house today, I won't let you go to work. I'll also email your boss to complain, telling them how you schemed to cause your in-laws' deaths and seized their property. I'll make sure everyone sees your true colors. As she spoke, Chen Yuanyuan provocatively bumped into me with her noticeably pregnant belly, a smug grin plastered across her face. What, you want to hit me? Even Gu Feng wouldn't dare lay a hand on me. You think you will? I'm pregnant, and there are cameras here. You lay one finger on me, and I'll have you paying up in no time. You're nothing but a barren old hen. Seeing me back away repeatedly, Chen Yuanyuan grew even more brazen. Just as she was about to hurl another insult, she spotted a company executive passing by and instantly switched to playing the innocent victim, trying to stir up trouble. Chen Rong is an employee here, right? She caused her in-laws' deaths and seized their inheritance. How can you keep someone like that in your company? Fire her immediately, or I'll come here and make a scene every single day. The company executive showed no particular reaction. Instead, he smiled at me and said, Oh, Xiao Chen, it's fine if you're a bit late today. I heard you've had some family troubles recently. You could have taken leave. Please do take care of yourself. Chen Yuanyuan was stunned for a moment, then fumed. Your employee has serious moral failings. Why are you protecting her? Did you sleep with her? Is that why you're covering for her? The company executive scowled. What nonsense are you spouting? Chen Rong is the landlord of our office building, our benefactor. Do you think she's like you, only capable of throwing a tantrum? get out of here." Qin Yuanyuan was thunderstruck. "What? That bitch is the landlord of the office building. Since when did she become so rich?" The thought that she owned an office building and 10 apartments made Qin Yuanyuan seethe with envy, grinding her teeth in frustration. "You already have so much. Why hoard 10 apartments? I'm going to have Gufeng file for divorce right now and sue to take that office building from you." I gave a cold laugh. "You really can't do that. The office building is my parents' property, and it counts as my premarital asset. Years ago, my parents disapproved of my relationship with Gufeng. I was young and foolish, insisting on marrying him. In their anger, they cut off contact with me. Now that I'm divorcing Gufeng, they've finally felt secure enough to entrust me with managing the family's office building." Qin Yuanyuan always thought I was broke, but in reality, I'm far wealthier than Gufeng. Qin Yuanyuan stamped her foot in fury, nearly going into early labor. The look on her face was as if someone had just sat on it. A week later, I went to the hospital for a checkup and, of all the bad luck, ran into Qin Yuanyuan again. Gufeng was with her. Qin Yuanyuan kept complaining. "I told you to go to a private hospital, but you wouldn't listen. Now we're stuck here waiting in line, suffering for no reason." Gufeng could only try to placate her. "The public hospital is fine too. It's just a prenatal checkup. No need to spend all that money." Qin Yuanyuan snapped. "It's all because you haven't gotten those 10 apartments back. We'd be rolling in it by now. That bitch Qin Rong is renting out office buildings while she's squatting on your property. Why didn't you even check her premarital assets back then?" The people around them overheard this and shot Gufeng and Qin Yuanyuan strange looks. Gufeng felt his face burning with shame and urged her to stop. Qin Yuanyuan paid no heed and only grew more vicious with her words. "Your parents were something else, abandoning their own son. No wonder they died young. Serves them right, having no one to mourn them." Struck to the core, Gufeng couldn't help but slap her. "Shut up, you had a hand in my parents' death too. If it weren't for the child, I would have." Qin Yuanyuan covered her face, emboldened by her position. "Gufeng, how dare you hit me? Don't you want your son anymore? You should have thought of that earlier. Regretting it now, are you? Well, I'm telling you, it's too late. I'm pregnant. Let's see who dares lay a hand on me now." Gufeng forcibly suppressed the rage in his heart. When he turned around, our eyes met. His gaze was complex, as if he had something to say but couldn't find the words. I ignored his pitiful state and turned to go find a doctor. After seeing the doctor, I went down to the parking garage, where Gufeng quietly sought me out. He looked rather haggard and asked with concern, "Rong, are you ill? Is it serious? Do you need me to come take care of you?" I'm so sick of him acting like this. There's a saying, belated affection is cheaper than grass. When I was sick and needed care before, you ignored me and ran off to look after Qin Yuanyuan. Now that we're separated, you abandon her to come find me. Gufeng, you've made me, your lawful wife, lose all face, and now you're trying to turn me into the other woman. Are you out of your mind?" Gufeng was utterly ashamed. "I just want to show I care. I feel so guilty about how I've treated you, and I want to make it right." I let out a short, derisive laugh. "I bet you said the same thing to Qin Yuanyuan, didn't you? She might have put up with your macho nonsense, but I won't. If you really want to show you care, sign the divorce papers, and while you're at it, walk away with nothing. That would be the best making it right you could possibly do for me." The mention of money and assets made Gufeng hesitate. Rong, do we really have to make things this ugly over money? Yuanyuan is pregnant with my child. Can't you be more generous? At least give us 5 apartments. It's not like it's a big loss for you." I lost my patience, slammed the car door, and was about to drive off. Before leaving, I cursed. What a damn nuisance. That evening, I received a call from the police. "Ms. Chen, your husband has been involved in a physical altercation. We need you to come down to the station." I rushed to the police station with questions in my mind. The moment I stepped inside, I saw Gufeng, his face bruised and swollen, looking utterly dejected with his hands cuffed. For a fleeting, disoriented moment, I remembered his former vigor as the captain of the rescue team under his command. The success rate of rescue missions was 100%, yet, an incident a month ago had completely tarnished his reputation within the industry. Gufeng had saved countless lives, but he couldn't save his own parents. The police officer in charge of the case recounted the whole story from beginning to end. It turned out that Gufeng had discovered Qin Yuanyuan's affair. The child she was carrying wasn't his, and in a fit of rage, her lover revealed that Gufeng suffered from azoospermia. The two men got into a fight. and the lover was severely injured. He is now demanding compensation from Gu Feng. Even then, Qin Yuanyuan wouldn't let up. A child is a child. Whosoever it is, can't you just let it go? You used to believe everything I said, now when I tell you this child is yours, you refuse to believe me. What's the point? You'll never have a child of your own anyway. Gu Feng finally snapped. Heedless of the fact that she was pregnant, he began to beat and kick her, slamming Qin Yuanyuan's head against the wall. Qin Yuanyuan's face was instantly covered in blood as she let out agonized screams. If the police hadn't intervened, she likely would have been killed on the spot. After a night of chaos, Gu Feng was taken into custody. As I was leaving, Gu Feng looked at me with a sorrowful expression, like a little boy who had done wrong, silently begging for my forgiveness. Rong, the fact that you came today, does it mean you're willing to forgive me, that there's still a chance for us to work things out? My tone was distant, leaving no room for false hope. I'm only here out of respect for your parents. Don't flatter yourself, you used me as a stand-in for 3 whole years, and I haven't even begun to settle that score with you. How dare you talk about getting back together? Hearing this, Gu Feng seemed to break down, his eyes reddened, and he wept bitterly. I truly regret it. I shouldn't have dwelled on the past, clinging to memories of Qin Yuanyuan. You were 1,000 times better than her back then, and I was a fool not to see it. I don't know if you'll believe me, but it really only happened once with Qin Yuanyuan, and I was drunk. I was filled with instant remorse, terrified you'd find out. Rong, I feel like an orphan now. Before, my parents kept me in check, and you were there to cook for me. No matter how wild I got, someone was always there to call me home. Now, I have nothing left. As he spoke, Gu Feng fell to his knees with a thud, took my hand, his expression one of utter sincerity. Rong, for the sake of our late parents, I'm begging you, give me one more chance. I'll give you the last property in my name and all my savings. I just want to go back to how things were. I'll spend the rest of my life making amends. I pulled my hand away and took a few steps back to put some distance between us. Even your own parents are utterly disappointed in you. Who in this world do you think would still believe in you? Gu Feng, you've lost your house, your parents are gone, your childhood sweetheart betrayed you, and now you remember me. You want me to come back to you. What do you take me for? Some kind of pathetic fool? There's another reason I came today. I'm here to deliver the divorce papers. Sign them, the sooner, the better. I took the agreement and a pen from my bag and flung them right at his face, just as heartlessly as he had once treated me. Gu Feng closed his eyes, 2 streams of hot tears rolling down his cheeks. He felt utterly pathetic. He carefully picked up the divorce papers from the floor and muttered to himself, I deserve this fate. My parents won't save me. My good wife doesn't want me. Gu Feng is nothing but a beast. In the end, Gu Feng signed the divorce agreement on his knees. After putting his name to it, he seemed to turn into a walking corpse, his body swaying unsteadily. Late one night, I was startled by a call from an unknown number. It was Qin Yuanyuan's voice, pleading for help. Sister Qin Rong, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been the other woman, provoking you and wrecking your family. I shouldn't have lied about your parents' cooking. I deserve to die 1,000 deaths. I knew I was a homewrecker. I was shameless and despicable. Please, I'm begging you, tell Gu Feng to let me go. I just want to live. Before she could finish, a blood-curdling scream came through the line, and the call went dead. Half asleep, I didn't think much of it at the time. The next morning, I received a call from Li Sun. Rongjia, Fengji has been arrested for killing Qin Yuanyuan. He sent word that he wants to see you one last time. Could you? No. I cut Li Sun off directly and continued, you know how he stood by and let his own parents die. I'm divorced from that scumbag now. Whatever he's done has nothing to do with me. 1 year later, Gu Feng was sentenced to death for intentional homicide. When I visited my uncle and aunt's grave, I told them the news, hoping Gu Feng would learn how to be a filial son once he got to the other side. That night, I dreamed of my in-laws whipping Gu Feng with a cane. You unfilial wretch, abandoning your wife and leaving your parents to die. I'll beat you to death, you ungrateful monster. How did your father and I give birth to a beast like you? I'll beat your soul right out of your body, the end. Story 2. Since I can't be with her, the only way I can make it up to her is to give her all my favoritism. My wedding day is approaching, and I saw a post on my boyfriend's social media. The picture attached was a profile view of another woman sleeping peacefully. The post was visible to everyone, except me. I was the only one blocked from seeing it. I suddenly laughed. On the wedding day, my boyfriend showed up in a groom's suit to fetch the bride. Little did he know, he was no longer the groom. At the lab dinner, Zhao He suggested we play truth or dare. The first round landed on me. Sister Qin, kiss brother He for 30 seconds. Everyone started to egg them on in an instant. Li Kik's face flushed bright red, her eyes welling up with tears. I rose to my feet with composure and turned my gaze to He Qiming. He Qiming acted as if he hadn't heard, placing a morsel of food into Li Kik's bowl and holding her hand in a gesture of reassurance. Only after Li Kiki had eaten that bite did He Qiming finally look up at us. What were you saying just now? An eerie silence instantly fell over the private room. Everyone was looking at me, some with embarrassment, others with mocking smirks. I curled my lip in a sarcastic sneer. Zhao, what's the penalty? Zhao He quickly checked the slip of paper. The penalty is to go outside, stop the third person who passes by the door, and kiss them for 1 minute, or drink an entire bottle of beer. The first one, go for the first option. Someone immediately started jeering. He Qiming's face instantly darkened, and it only eased when I picked up a bottle of beer and opened it. A look of relief crossed his face as the corner of his mouth quirked up, and he calmly poured Li Kiki another glass of juice. A bright smile lit up Li Kik's face, the earlier shadow of grievance completely gone. As for me, the moment the alcohol hit my stomach, it began to churn. Zhao He belatedly remembered, Sister Qin, your stomach isn't great, just take a symbolic sip. In the time it took him to say that, he'd already downed a whole bottle of beer. A cramping pain seized my stomach, but I bore it. It's alright. He Qiming just glanced at me, and thinking I was genuinely fine, went right back to soothing his little darling. Li Kiki was actually only 3 years younger than He Qiming, and a year younger than me, but He Qiming called her his little darling, seeing her as innocent and pure as a child, terrified of her suffering even the slightest grievance. After the meal, it wasn't until he had personally seen Li Kiki into the car that He Qiming finally looked me in the eye. Was it you who told Zhao to set up this truth or dare game? You know perfectly well that Kiki has feelings for me. How heartbroken do you think she'll be, seeing us kiss in public like that? Qin Zhen, don't be so selfish. We're about to have our wedding, and you're still hung up on all this. Alright, let's consider this matter closed for today. Let's not bring it up again. I just felt a burning sensation in my stomach. I was starting to lose my composure, and beads of cold sweat broke out on my forehead. He Qiming finally stopped his nagging. Is your stomach hurting again? You brought this on yourself, didn't you? Wait here, I'll go get you some medicine. There's a pharmacy right across the street. But before he could even cross the road, Li Kik's call came through again. Qiming, something's wrong with this driver. He's not following the planned route. I got out of the car. It's so dark here. I'm really scared. I just watched He Qiming quickly turn back and get into his car. Qin Zhen, take a cab home. Kik's in danger. I have to get there right now. The car sped off, exhaust fumes hitting me in the face. The churning in my stomach finally became unbearable, and I crouched by the greenbelt, vomiting until the world went dark. I took a cab home. An hour had already passed. I took some stomach medicine, cleaned myself up, and drifted off into a fitful sleep. I woke up at 2 in the morning. I checked the time on my phone and saw a new post on my WeChat Moments. I tapped on it, and a message immediately filled the screen. To the purest little angel, I wish to be your guardian knight. The accompanying picture was a profile shot of Li Kiki sleeping peacefully. There are already a lot of replies and likes below, mostly from people I know, including Zhao He. Congratulations to brother He for winning the beauty's heart. Even though it was said in jest, knowing that he and I are about to get married, a comment like that stings a little. Everyone who attended the dinner together today liked it. I wasn't supposed to see this post. He Qiming made it visible to everyone except me, but Li Kiki reposted it, hiding it from everyone else and showing it only to me. Suddenly, I feel so exhausted. Is a relationship like this even worth holding on to? I collapsed onto the sofa, not wanting to move a muscle. Just then, his mother's call came through. Qin Zhen, how are the wedding preparations going? Let us know if there's anything we can help with. See, birds of a feather flock together. It feels like the wedding is my responsibility alone. They just need to lend a hand. Even if we begged them for help, it would likely just be an empty promise. Mrs. He never visits without a specific purpose. Just say what's on your mind. I really can't be bothered to play mind games with the He family. It's about that apartment of yours. My heart skipped a beat. Now that you're marrying Qiming, won't that apartment of yours be empty? Qiqing graduated a year ago and still hasn't found a decent job. He's not capable like his older brother. Did Qiming say he could live there from now on? Did He Qiming really say that? He Qiming may be a hypocrite, but he wouldn't openly scheme for my property. He's too arrogant, too disdainful, and frankly, too afraid to try. Mrs. He was deeply displeased by my questioning. Never mind what he said. My point is, you're the only daughter, your parents have their own retirement home, which will be yours eventually anyway, so, you don't really need to hold on to this apartment, right? The management fees alone cost $1,000 a month, what a waste of money, just transfer the title to Cheeching directly, he'll take care of the utilities and fees from then on. I could practically feel the beads of her abacus hitting me in the face. What if I don't agree? Suddenly, a sense of clarity washed over me. Don't agree? Do you still want to marry into our he family? There are plenty of young girls lining up to marry our Cheeming. Look at you, you're already 28, if you don't get married soon, you'll be an older mother. If Cheeming doesn't marry you, who do you think will? Fine, then let's call off the wedding, Mrs. He panicked instantly. You, how can you be so ungrateful? I hung up the phone. To my surprise, ending a 7-year relationship felt so liberating. The next day, I still went to the lab first thing in the morning. It wasn't until 9 o'clock that he Cheeming and Likiki finally showed up, fashionably late. One arrived by car, the other by shared bike, and they met up at the foot of the lab building. This deliberate attempt to arrive separately only made their coordination more obvious. What a coincidence, they've arrived at the lab at the same time again. The gossip, Lu Pan, said it right by my ear on purpose. Just like Likiki, she was specially recruited by he Cheeming. Her professional skills were lacking, but she was attractive, lively, and knew how to get along with everyone. I guess most men tend to go for that type, but he Cheeming genuinely had no ulterior motives. It was purely an aesthetic choice to add a bit of color to the lab. Likiki followed he Cheeming inside, but the moment she saw me, she scurried away like a startled rabbit. He Cheeming, completely unflustered, handed me the stomach medicine he hadn't had time to buy for me last night. Is your stomach still hurting? Have you had breakfast? I bought you some congee. Lu Pan rolled her eyes, found the whole thing rather tedious, and walked away. Did your mom say anything? I smiled. Nothing much. Let's finish this experiment first. After all the hard work for over half a year, we're finally about to see results. We can't let all that effort go to waste. What? I still need its data to support my doctoral dissertation. What I didn't realize was that he Cheeming also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. During afternoon tea, Lu Pan deliberately stirred up trouble. Oh dear, what should we do? There's only one durian milfai, and both Sister Chin and Kiki want it. She put on a deliberately troubled expression. No one said a word. He Cheeming came out and handed the durian milfai directly to Likiki. Likiki stole a glance in my direction. Where's Sister Chin? It's fine, she's not a child anymore. Likiki, her cheeks flushed, happily began eating the durian milfai. I actually had no idea about any of this until my phone suddenly buzzed with a WeChat moment notification from my special follow. All my favoritism is for you. Attached is a durian milfai. By the time I clicked in, the message had just been deleted. Luckily, my eyes are quick. Even with just a glance, I saw that line of text perfectly clearly. I put away my phone and realized everyone in the lab was looking at me, their eyes holding an eerie smile. My gaze swept across, and I caught the reflection of my phone screen in the dark computer monitor beside me. He Cheeming posted another moment on social media, blocking me from seeing it. It was the same content, but with an extra picture, a silly, funny face, and the caption read, almost gave it away. Everyone in the lab could see that post. They were all looking at me with that knowing, shared understanding. No wonder they had those expressions. Chinjia, I'm so jealous. Your brother, he's absolute favorite. Lu Pan deliberately put on an envious expression, but it was actually a blatant act of mockery. The smiles on the others' faces grew even more peculiar. Likiki finally couldn't hold back her laughter, spraying the milk tea from her mouth and choking until her little face turned bright red. Take it easy. He Cheeming affectionately ruffled her hair, then turned to scold the others with a straight face. What's so funny? Get back to work. Unless you don't want your bonuses. Later, he personally brought me a mango pudding and a black coffee. You've worked hard, take a break first. Once you let go, your mind becomes more open. At this moment, I feel surprisingly numb. All I want is to focus on my work and finish this experimental project as soon as possible. The others glanced over, stifling their laughter this time. Zhao He finally couldn't take it anymore. During the break, he went to the smoking room to find He Cheeming. Brother He, fooling around is one thing, but don't joke about marriage. If you really don't love Sister Chin anymore, why not just break up? It's not the same. I'm saying she's not the same as Kiki. Qin Zhen is my best partner. Our chemistry is unparalleled. No one could ever replace her. she's helped me so much over the years and made a lot of sacrifices for me. I might not even have been able to get this lab off the ground without her. She's been with me for so long. What kind of man would I be if I just abandoned her? Besides, there are real feelings between us. We wouldn't have walked this path together for so many years otherwise. Zhao He was completely confused. Then what about Li Kiki? He Qiming smiled, a gentle smile. Kiki likes me, she loves me too deeply, I can't be with her, but I'm willing to do everything in my power to make it up to her. What? Aren't you afraid Sister Qin will break up with you over this? Break up? You're overthinking it. Last night, my mom asked her to transfer the house to my brother. She was so angry she threatened to break up, but look at her today. Isn't she just fine? Zhao He, you don't understand. Women are different from men. Men get bored over time, but women become more attached the longer they stay. Besides, at her age, where would she find someone better than me if she left? Even Zhao He, a fellow scumbag, had to give him some grudging respect for that line. The break room was right next to the smoking lounge. I silently filled a cup with water. As I stepped out, I ran right into Zhao He, who was just leaving the smoking lounge. A flicker of panic crossed his face. Sister Qin, I nodded without saying a word. The project was finally wrapped up successfully, and I had the paper ready for submission to an SCI journal. Since I was the lead on this experiment, it was only natural that I be listed as the first author, a point on which the entire lab was in complete agreement. Qin Zhen, send me the paper to review. After I've looked it over, I'll submit it on your behalf. Although I was leading this experiment, the lab belonged to He Qiming. It was only right for him to check the paper for any violations or potential leaks of lab confidentiality, so I didn't think much of it. Little did I know, once the paper was published, the situation changed completely. Qin Zhen, I've added Kik's name to this project. Honestly, I'm not surprised by this. Even though Li Kiki is just a trainee lab assistant and hasn't been of any help in the 3 months since she joined the lab, I answered offhandedly, not wanting to argue with him. What I mean is listing her as the first author. Before I could even blow up, He Qiming waved his hand impatiently. I'm just informing you, not asking for your opinion. Kiki loves me so much, yet I'm marrying you. Compensating her with an SCI paper isn't too much to ask, is it? I'm so furious at his shameless move that I could only laugh. She loves you, and you can't let her go. Why don't you use your own research to boost her credentials? He Qiming, do you have any idea how important this experiment is to me? Okay, it's just a doctoral dissertation, isn't it? It's not like this is your first time delaying your PhD graduation. What's the big deal about postponing it one more time? The reason I'm telling you this specifically is that I'm afraid you'll include this experimental data in your doctoral thesis. That would be copyright infringement and could lead to serious trouble. Qin Zhen, we're about to get married, be reasonable and stop making a scene. I stared at him, then suddenly laughed. The last vestiges of warmth I felt for him vanished. He Qiming, it's over between us. He Qiming's brow twitched. Before he could get a word out, I was already out the door, cool as a cucumber. The doorway was jam-packed with people at that moment. They were all there to watch me fall flat on my face. Don't be upset, Qin, it's just one SCI paper. You've published so many. What's one more or less? Lu Pan came over to me again, making snide remarks. Lu Pan, stop with the sarcastic comments. Don't you understand the concept of when the lips are gone, the teeth will be cold? Finally, someone stood up for me. Lu Pan curled his lip. I'm just a lowly assistant. My name's always tacked on at the end. Who gets first authorship has nothing to do with me. Just then, Zhao He walked over. Didn't you see the authorship on that paper? There are only 2 names. The first author is Li Kiki. The second is Brother He. The rest of us, including me, got nothing. The boomerang finally came back to hit them, and now someone's feeling the sting. They probably never dreamed in their wildest nightmares that He Qiming would one day even try to snatch their rightful share. What? Li Kiki? On what grounds? What did she do for this whole project besides wrecking a set of lab equipment? How does she get to hog all the credit that belongs to every one of us? Lu Pan's face contorted with rage. Even that tiny byline at the end was a trophy, a hard-earned medal on her sparse resume. Zhao He ignored her and came straight to me. Qin Jia, are you really just going to let Brother He get away with this? The entire lab fell silent, and everyone's eyes turned to me. They knew that, aside from me, no one here could help them get justice. If I took the lead and they joined in, there was definitely still room to turn things around. I suddenly smiled. This isn't the first time he's taken what's mine to make Li Kiki happy. You all love to watch and laugh from the sidelines. don't you? What's the matter? Can't find it funny now. Zhao He's face flushed and paled in turn. He was a founding member of this lab, my junior, and I even helped him finalize his doctoral dissertation. In the end, even he joined the others in laughing at me behind my back. Zhao He wanted to say something, but was too ashamed to utter a single word. Everyone else also looked utterly mortified. This time, they truly couldn't muster a single laugh, and yet, that little white lotus just had to show off, posting a screenshot of an SCI paper on her public social media feed. The caption read, "Thank you, meeting you is the greatest happiness of my life." He Qiming was the first to like it and replied, "You deserve it." As for those usual sycophants, not a single one showed up. They were just sneaking glances at me. As for me, I was ready to pack up and leave. I had no contract with He Qiming. I helped him set up this lab, and in return, I used it to conduct my own research. All I needed to do was take my own notebook, wipe my data, and I'd have no further ties to this lab. A few hours later, He Qiming personally brought a durian milfai and placed it in front of me. I didn't look at it, continuing to sort through the data, unable to read any emotion on my face. He Qiming ventured cautiously, "Qin Zhen, how about you take a 2-month break? You've been working nonstop for so long. It would be a good chance to rest and also to start planning our wedding." I didn't say a word, but I accepted the durian milfai. He Qiming let out a sigh of relief. After finishing the durian milfai, I went to the stairwell to throw away the trash and faintly heard a voice, "Brother He, did Sister Qin really forgive you? Wait, you're actually going through with the split?" I gave her time off to go plan the wedding. "What about Li Kiki? Won't she kick up a fuss?" He Qiming took a drag of his cigarette. "I booked tickets to the Maldives. I'll take her on a trip as a sort of compensation. You're dumping a huge thing like a wedding on Sister Qin while you go off and have fun with your little girlfriend. That's not right, is it?" "What little girlfriend? My relationship with Coco is completely innocent. Don't you dare project your filthy thoughts onto us. Get lost. Qin Zhen doesn't need me to worry about anything she does. She can handle the wedding preparations herself." I returned to my workstation, my face a mask of calm indifference. Not long after, Zhao He passed by my desk and, acting as furtive as a thief, tossed a few words my way. "Qinjia, check WeChat. I sent you something." I opened WeChat and saw the screenshot he had sent, the place she most wanted to go. "I never took her. In this lifetime, I will only share it with you." Without a doubt, it was He Qiming's. I didn't know if Zhao He had sent this to me out of a genuine pang of conscience, or if he was trying to stir up my resentment towards He Qiming to help them reclaim the authorship rights on the SCI paper, but I had no mind for any of that. Just as I was finishing up and about to leave, He Qiming showed up again. It was a rare show of attentiveness from him, driving me home personally. "I'll be away on a business trip for 2 months. If you need anything, you can contact Zhao He. If he can't handle it, you can always reach out to me. Don't worry, I'll definitely be back before the wedding." I replied flatly, "All right." He Qiming beamed, as if the last of his worries had finally melted away. Afterwards, I gave my mom a call. "Mom, didn't you say you were going to set me up with someone? I remember you said he's an officer, surnamed Fu. He's in a hurry to get married to give his gravely ill grandfather some peace of mind. His family background and character are both excellent. If it weren't for the urgency, someone like him probably wouldn't be considering someone like me." After we exchanged WeChat and messages, Fu Chen said, "Ask for whatever you need. I only have one condition. We must get married within 2 months." "That's fine, 2 months is perfect." I even scheduled the wedding for the exact same day I was originally supposed to marry He Qiming. 2 months later, when he returns from his trip with his little angel and sees that I've married someone else, I can only imagine how thrilled he'll be. Not 2 days later, Li Kiki updated her social media feed. "He's getting married, and the bride isn't me." The accompanying picture showed her tear-streaked face, with He Qiming's profile, leaning against the airplane window, asleep, in the background. Soon after, He Qiming liked the post and commented, "Let me walk this last stretch with you. It will be my most beautiful memory." Ah, what a pair of star-crossed lovers, torn apart by cruel fate. I immediately hit the like button. He Qiming probably didn't realize I could see that post on his social media. He was so startled that he called me right away. "Qin Zhen, what are you doing?" He feigned composure, as if nothing had happened. "I'm picking out a dress," I answered matter-of-factly. Even over the phone, I could hear his sigh of relief. Not long after, Zhao He sent another screenshot. It was from his chat with He Qiming. He asked He Qiming, "Aren't you afraid I'll get angry if you post that on your social feed?" He Qiming replied, "You're very reasonable. You wouldn't make a fuss over something so trivial." Well, of course I won't hold it against him anymore. There's certainly a lot to prepare for a wedding, but thankfully, the Fu family is handling everything this time, and they always consult me. For a fleeting moment, I felt that this was what a normal wedding in a normal family should be like. The Fu family still feels like they owe me, wanting to give me the best in every way. Mrs. Fu even personally bought me a luxury apartment, saying that if things really don't work out with Fuchin in the future and we get divorced, I'll have something to fall back on. As the wedding day drew closer, I posted on my social media over half a month in advance to officially announce the date. The guest list was finalized, and all the invitations had been sent out. Mrs. He finally regained her confidence 3 days before the wedding. Mrs. He called and brought up the old issue again. Qin Zhen, have you made up your mind about the house? I've already told you, if you don't transfer the property to my Qiqing's name, don't expect Qiming to show up at the wedding the day after tomorrow. Your parents are respected university professors. If you don't want them to be humiliated or risk their health from this stress, you'd better do exactly as I say. So arrogant and overbearing, even without seeing her face, I could picture exactly how ugly her expression must be right now. I am profoundly grateful I made the wise choice not to marry into a family like that. Fine, go ahead, try and stop him from coming. Why you think you can still intimidate me? The invitations are already sent, the hotel and everything for the wedding is all set. If we call it off now, the gossip alone would drown me. I know Mrs. He is banking on exactly this to dare threaten me now. I hung up the phone and blocked her number for good this time. On the day of the wedding, He Qiming was a no-show, just as I'd expected. The day before the wedding, He Qiming and Li Kiki had already flown back to their home country. They said their goodbyes, lingering with a palpable sense of reluctance. Farewell, my love. Perhaps on a whim, he posted that final social media update for all to see, brazenly, without even blocking me. After 2 months of living in each other's pockets, their feelings seemed to have deepened. On the night before the wedding, they finally succumbed to temptation. Don't ask me how I know these things. Having finally made some real progress, Li Kiki wasn't about to pass up the chance to get under my skin. She even went so far as to film their intimate scene and send it to me. On the morning of the wedding, He Qiming was woken up by a call from Zhao He. Brother He, where are you? It's time for the wedding ceremony. He Qiming scrambled out of his cozy bed, jolted awake in a panic. Why didn't you wake me up? For the first time, he lost his temper with Li Kiki. Li Kiki's large eyes welled up with tears, but He Qiming had no time to console her, and hurriedly called me instead. By then, I was already in the Fu family's wedding car. I hung up and blocked him. Qin Zhen, stop making a scene. I just had something come up last night and overslept a little. My WeChat was blowing up, but I didn't even glance at it, just set my phone aside. Fuchin glanced at my phone, then gently took my hand in his. I was taken aback for a moment, my fingers twitched, but in the end, I didn't pull away. I didn't mind his touch. About an hour later, Zhao He's call came through. Sister Qin, where are you now? Brother He and I are at your place, but there's no one here. Zhao He, do one last thing for me, and we'll call it even for all our past grievances. For Seasons Villa, this was the wedding venue chosen by He Qiming. This was also the only money the He family spent on this marriage, that is, of course, provided they got to keep the cash gifts. When He Qiming arrived with the groom's party to fetch the bride, not a single guest from the bride's side was present. The vast banquet hall was more than half empty. Qiming, didn't you pick up Qin Zhen, Mrs. He had intended to give me a hard time before the wedding, but she didn't even get to see me. Now she was finally starting to feel a little afraid. Seeing this, He Qiming finally began to panic a little, but he still managed to act as if nothing had happened and called me on WeChat video. This time, I answered. Qin Zhen, where are you? I was just a little late because I was busy. Okay, be reasonable and don't make a scene right now. You might not care about saving face for our He family, but won't your parents be ashamed? I generously showed him the wedding scene. Allow me to formally introduce you to my husband, Fuchin. The corners of my mouth curled up uncontrollably. All the humiliation was avenged in this moment. Fuchin played along perfectly. Hello, thank you for delivering Qin Zhen to me. He Qiming probably never dreamed in his wildest nightmares that this day would come. He plopped down on the stage floor, utterly stunned and dumbfounded. The Qin family has gone too far, Mrs. He's face had already gone pale with fright, but right now, she absolutely could not let He Qiming find out that she was the one who ruined our marriage. The only option was to redirect the blame and pin all the fault on me, but as fate would have it, a piece of audio began to play from the speakers. Qin Zhen, Have you made up your mind about the house? I've already told you, if you don't transfer the property to my Chiching's name, don't expect Chiming to show up at the wedding the day after tomorrow. Your parents are respected university professors. If you're not afraid of them being humiliated or getting so upset it makes them ill, you'd better do as I say. He Chiming looked up abruptly. Mom, it was you after all. Can't you stand to see me happy? Did you have to push her to this point? I didn't. Who knew that bitch would be so petty? I was only joking with her. Is that any way to make a joke? The faces of every guest in the room fell. Mrs. He was never afraid of me, but she was terrified of He Chiming. The moment He Chiming lost his temper, her legs went weak. He plopped down on the stage and started throwing a full-blown tantrum. I don't want to live anymore. Just let me die. The whole wedding descended into chaos, and many guests grew visibly restless. Just then, the big screen finally sprang into action. A steamy duo performance burst into everyone's view without warning. The heavy breathing was deafening, leaving the guests in a dilemma over whether to look or not. The guests in attendance consisted of the He family's invited friends and relatives, as well as partners and even key investors warmly invited by He Chiming. Witnessing this, they rose to their feet one after another, preparing to leave without even saying goodbye. He Chiming wanted to stop her, but how could he possibly have the face to do so now? If he could, he would have wished for the ground to swallow him whole. At that very moment, Li Kik's voice came through the speakers. Sister Chin, do you see, Chiming Gij loves me. Boasting and mockery came at him in a suffocating wave. He Chiming's long-suppressed volcano finally erupted. He slapped Li Kiki across the face. Did you send it to her? I knew Qin Jin would never refuse to marry me. It's all because of you. I have no idea how He Chiming managed to find his way to my wedding. His hair was disheveled, his clothes were filthy, as if he'd been rolling around somewhere. Qin Jin, please forgive me. I know I was wrong. From now on, all my affection will be for you alone. He knelt before me. It was probably the most sincere apology he had ever offered. I just smiled and pretended not to see. Fuchen took my hand at just the right moment. It's time to go home. Grandpa is waiting for us. Fuchen helped me into the car. We drove a long way, and He Chiming was still kneeling there. I want to see He Chiming and the entire He family utterly disgraced. More importantly, I need to establish a legitimate and justifiable position for myself, to avoid bringing trouble upon the innocent Fu family. But of course, is that alone really enough? He Chiming tried to follow me as I left, but a team of sharply dressed lawyers blocked his path and served him with a legal notice. He Chiming, we are formally charging you with the illegal appropriation of Ms. Qin Jin's scientific research achievements. Another bolt from the blue struck He Chiming. He slumped down on the street and began to laugh, his eyes hollow and vacant. Qin Jin, you've been waiting for me here all along, haven't you? Ha ha ha. Zhao He, who had been my accomplice and felt guilty towards He Chiming, followed along as well. He Chiming suddenly looked up at him. Tell me, why would she do this to me? Yeah. Zhao He's lips moved, and he finally said something decent. And what gives you the right to treat her like that? He Chiming, if you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Zhao He has left too. Only Li Kiki remained by He Chiming's side. The handprint on her face was clearly visible, yet she still embraced He Chiming. Brother Chiming, I'm here. I'm still here. And I won't leave you. He Chiming shoved her away. What good are you? Li Kiki was stunned. Just yesterday, their love had seemed eternal and unbreakable. Brother Chiming, didn't you say your feelings for me were the purest? Purity, you need a solid material foundation to even qualify for purity. So tell me, what exactly can you do for me? According to Zhao He, Li Kiki ended up marrying He Chiming. But after He Chiming lost the lawsuit and was left penniless, she seemed to finally grasp the true meaning of a material foundation and ultimately chose to part ways with him. What happened next? Grandpa Fu didn't make it through the winter. On the day of his funeral, I took out our marriage certificate and asked Fu Chen, shall we get a divorce? For the past few months, we've treated each other with the utmost respect, never crossing that line, probably because we both knew this marriage was just a formality, a simple matter of mutual convenience. Fu Chen looked at the marriage certificate and said with great seriousness, Qin Zhen, what do you say we give it a try? I still ended up being an older mother, giving birth to my first child at the age of 33. I was specially recruited into the Military Research Institute. I asked Fu Chen if his family had pulled strings for me. He smiled and said, no, you were selected by the Military Research Institute a long time ago, before I became your blind date. I personally investigated your entire network of connections. It's only natural for the Military Research Institute to conduct thorough background checks when hiring, but I can't shake the feeling that something's been overlooked. Zhao He landed a position in a lab affiliated with the Military Research Institute. He had the skills for it, and I considered it his final payment for helping me out one last time, but in the end, I cut off all contact with him. As for He Qiming, I stopped keeping tabs on him altogether. At a high-level research summit once, I saw someone handing out flyers on the street, desperately seeking investors, who looked just like him. Back in college, when he was penniless, he would go out under the scorching sun just like that, pitching his research project to secure funding. I didn't go to confirm it was him, I just got straight into the car that Fu Chen had sent for me, but a pair of eyes followed my car, watching it for a long time. Fu Chen's side story. My name is Fu Chen, and I was a military intelligence officer. One day, the Military Research Institute assigned me a task to investigate the background of a researcher named Qin Zhen. The first time I saw her was on a stormy night. She worked late into the night and called her boyfriend to pick her up. I don't know what the other person said, she just replied with a quiet okay, then rushed out into the pouring rain herself. She was completely drenched by the time she managed to hail my taxi. I drove her to the entrance of her apartment building. Only then did her boyfriend call, saying he was finally free and asking if she was still at the lab, that he could come get her. No need. Her voice was a bit hoarse, probably from a cold, yet, despite that, she was incredibly gentle and friendly towards me, a mere taxi driver, even gracing me with a smile. Her smile was truly radiant, like a warm spring breeze and gentle rain, seemingly capable of healing all wounds. I looked into her boyfriend He Qiming's schedule for that day. It turned out he had no official business. Instead, their lab had just hired a new female researcher named Lu Pan. Lu Pan was a master at playing both sides. In internet slang, you'd say she had a PhD in tea art. He Qiming and Zhao He both appreciated her tea ceremony skills. That day, the three of them went to a KTV, but I also noticed that He Qiming had a strange kind of principle about him. He knew exactly what kind of person he should marry, and what kind he shouldn't. He didn't genuinely like someone like Lu Pan, but that didn't stop him from enjoying the emotional gratification she provided. Of course, it's more likely that Lu Pan simply didn't meet his standards for an affair, so I helped him pick one out. Li Kiki, a second-year graduate student, sweet and innocent. In the graduate school entrance exam, she ranked last in the written test but came in first in the interview. It wasn't that her professional skills were exceptional, but rather that she knew exactly how to appeal to her supervisor's preferences, winning his great favor based on Li Kiki and He Qiming's preferences. I meticulously designed a meet-cute scenario for them. Sure enough, Li Kiki fell for He Qiming, a handsome, talented, and wealthy young prodigy, at first sight, and He Qiming subsequently offered her a special admission into his lab. Thus began their period of. My mother was ashamed and horrified by the disgraceful things I had done. Fu Chen, what are you trying to do? Have you fallen for your target? Fallen for her, Mom? She's someone the Institute values highly. I can't have rats scurrying around her. It's better to clean up these connections sooner rather than later. My mother clearly didn't believe it. She went out of her way to befriend Qin Zhen's parents, who were university professors, and practically offered up her own son to them. She said, no one wants this son of mine, and he's in a hurry to get married. If Qin Zhen doesn't mind, she can take him off my hands anytime. I felt my dignity as a man was profoundly insulted, but when I got the news that Qin Zhen wanted to meet me for a blind date, I felt nervous. My hands, steady enough for a 1,000-meter sniper shot, fumbled a bit while getting dressed that day. I didn't know what was wrong with me, but the moment I laid eyes on her during our official meeting, I knew for sure this was the woman I would marry. When my mom gave Qin Zhen the house, she was so guilt-ridden she was on the verge of tears. How is this possible? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm truly, deeply sorry. She repeated it 3 times in a row. For a moment, I was terrified she was going to spill all my secrets later. She dragged me by the ear to kneel before the ancestral tablets. How did our Fu family produce a beast like you? She scolded. Who taught you to just take whatever you fancy? I pointed innocently at my father's furtive figure hiding outside the ancestral hall. Later, we became a real married couple and even had a child. I thought He Qiming would never appear in her sight again, but that day, while she was attending a scientific research summit, he was actually there handing out flyers. With just a glance in that direction, my heart nearly leapt out of my throat. I drove her away at breakneck speed. As they say, a guilty conscience is a heavy burden. End of story.